My best. I just want to ensure that I've got this right, so I'm just going to just a bit of background, and then if I've got any of this wrong, please tell me. But so there was an Auditor General report in 2011-2012 looking at the regulation of complementary medicines, and the report really concluded that there was very limited post-marketing surveillance done of complementary medicines, and where there was surveillance done, there was a lot of non-compliance. So in English, a lot of products on shelves that said they had something in them that actually didn't have the things they said that they had in them, or alternatively they said there were concentrations of a particular substance and the concentrations were much higher or indeed much lower than what was on the product. And then following that there was, I think, a transparency review, and is it fair to say that the conclusion of both of those reviews was that the TGA needed to make information available in a much more timely manner about what products had been subject to post-market reviews and the outcomes of those reviews? Is that background all accurate?
Correct.
Why can't I get on the website and have a look at what's been done and what sort of levels of non-compliance have been achieved, what products have been recalled? I can't get access to any of that information, and yet this report was done a few years ago.
Senator, maybe it's an issue for your internet service provider, because
right.
The TGA website, maybe the APH one isn't very good.
No, it's not.
But the
anyway.
Parliament, but on a more serious note,
yes.
The TGA website does have information on all our compliance reviews and where products have been cancelled or removed from the register. That information has been available now since mid last year.
What's the total number of the products that have been reviewed?
Reviewed or cancelled?
Or both.
Senator? Okay, I'd have to take I'll just check whether I've got that number. I'd have to take it on notice. Thank you for that. So we have 24 complementary medicines that have actually been cancelled.
Mm-hmm.
A larger number has been reviewed.
What sort of number?
Well, we've been doing the reviews in tranches. So, for example, looking at the labelling of complementary medicines, which was something that you raised, in late last year we conducted a review of 68 complementary medicine labels that came to our attention. Especially in certain areas such as weight loss, there are areas of particular concern.
Yes.
The other thing we've developed, Senator, which clearly we are not putting up on our website, is a compliance strategy. So we're using intelligence both from our regulatory compliance officers, many of whom are former policemen, as well as tip-offs, and as well as our experience of particular companies or particular types of medicines that have issues with poor compliance. And so we're using those to target issues to do with compliance with complementary medicines. But I would emphasise that information on all the cancelled medicines, the 24, and the reasons for the cancellation are available on our website.
Of those, I mean, it's a very small number, but of those 24, how many of those products have reappeared on shelves under another name?
Some of them have, and of course one of the challenges...
Is that an issue of concern for you?
It is an issue of concern,
right.
and it's one of the issues that we are working with government in looking at the overall regulation of complementary medicines. With a listing process, there is no... If it's a self-listing process, which is a low regulatory touch, there is no bar to say you cannot list the same product again under a different name. Clearly what we do is have a very close look at it very soon after the listing.
But doesn't it make the whole review pointless? If I've got product X and I say it's going to do all these wonderful things and this is what's in the bottle, and I'm unlucky enough to have been reviewed by the TGA because the chance of that happening is very, very low, and then I get a notice from the TGA and within the space of a few weeks I just slap another label on the bottle and keep selling it?
That's a simplification of a system, because remember when we review a medicine we also look at its claims. So if it's brand X claiming to cure cancer and it comes back as brand Y, we can be immediately onto it, because we will have written to the company and explained that they're making representations or else or proposing indications that are not in keeping with what can be claimed for listed medicines, the allowable or permitted indications.
Last question, Senator Dingman.
Okay, so were you aware of the research that was done at the University of Adelaide that concluded that 60% of the products that were tested didn't match those that were listed on the bottle of the pack, and in some cases the concentrations were 10 times higher than what was advertised. So 60%. Does that, in terms of the products that you're testing, is that the sort of non-compliance you're seeing?
Well, there were a few issues with the work done by the University of Adelaide. It was very important in the context of making sure that if you take a bottle from a scene of death, remember it was done in a forensic capacity, these were forensic medicine researchers, and the spirit in which they did the work is if you find bottles next to a scene of death, and those bottles are taken away for analysis, do you need to analyse the contents or do you need to go by the label? Now, one of the issues that was missed, for example, in that analysis is that in many cases, despite a very active publicity and public affairs campaign from us, many people continue to purchase complementary medicines from the internet. And you only have to go to our website to see a very long list of complementary medicines that actually contain undisclosed ingredients, and therefore we are putting warnings out not to use them. And these are ones that are not on our register because they're because they're purchased from overseas. Yeah. That point was actually missed. That the range of medicines this group studied were broader than the ones on our register.
And the other part of my question was the 60% non-compliance for TGA registered products.
But there's non-compliance in a range of different areas. It can be labelling, it can be a different species of a plant or a different subspecies, or it can be an undisclosed prescription medicine, which is clearly not legal and often of the greatest concern. So when we do our compliance reviews, and I just talked about a group of reviews that were done in September, starting in September, working through to the current time, we're working through them. And so of that particular program of looking at 68 medicines, we found actually about a third had a breach. Not 60%,
so, okay,
but at the moment it's running at about a third.
Okay, well, I suppose I'll perhaps put some other questions in a notice about your changes to enforcement.
Very interesting area.
Yes. We're very happy to direct you to our website where the cancellations, the 24 that have been cancelled to date, are shown, Senator.
Okay, thank you.